The gleaming diplomatic vessel, Earth's Hope, drifted into its designated berth at the Zylaxian space station, its hull reflecting the purple-tinged starlight of the binary system. Inside, Earth's chief diplomat Raj Patel adjusted his formal attire one final time before the airlock cycling began. After 2 years of remote negotiations, this would be humanity's first face-to-face meeting with the notoriously isolationist Zylaxians. "Remember," his assistant Tara whispered, "they're extremely formal. Any mistake in protocol could set us back months." Raj nodded, his dark eyes focused on the airlock's status lights. He had studied Zylaxian customs extensively, knowing this meeting could determine the future of human-alien relations. The Zylaxians' advanced technology could revolutionize Earth's medical and space travel capabilities, if only they could forge a lasting alliance. The airlock cycled green. As the doors slid open, Raj's breath caught in his throat. The Zylaxian delegation was striking, tall, elegant beings with iridescent skin that shifted colors like oil on water. But it was their leader who commanded attention. Ambassador Kvira stood a head taller than her companions, her silver-white hair flowing in elaborate braids that denoted her high rank. Her eyes, completely black except for rings of violet, fixed on Raj with an intensity that made his pulse quicken. "Welcome aboard Station Harmony," Kvira said in perfect English, though her voice carried harmonics human vocal cords couldn't produce. "I trust your journey was pleasant." "Most pleasant, Ambassador," Raj replied in carefully practiced Zylaxian, including the traditional greeting gestures. "We are honored by your hospitality." A flicker of surprise crossed Kvira's features, the first crack in her diplomatic mask. She hadn't expected a human to master their complex language. Good. Raj needed every advantage he could get. The initial meeting proceeded smoothly as both sides exchanged formal pleasantries and established basic protocols. But when they moved to the conference room to begin substantial discussions, the real challenges emerged. "While we appreciate Earth's interest in technological exchange," Kvira stated, her tone cooling noticeably, "we have serious concerns about your species' stability. Your history is marked by conflict and environmental destruction." "We acknowledge our past mistakes," Raj responded carefully. "But it's precisely because we've learned from them that we seek peaceful cooperation with advanced civilizations like yours. We have much to offer in return." Kvira's skin rippled with subtle color changes, a sign of skepticism in Zylaxian body language. "Such as art, music, literature, new perspectives on the universe." Raj gestured to a small case his assistant carried. "With your permission." At Kvira's nod, he removed a simple wooden flute. "This instrument design has existed on Earth for thousands of years, played by countless cultures." He lifted it to his lips and began to play a haunting melody that filled the conference room. The other Zylaxians shifted uncomfortably at this departure from protocol, but Kvira remained still, her violet eyes fixed on Raj's fingers as they danced across the flute. When the last note faded, she spoke softly. "Interesting. Your species creates beauty from such simple materials." "We create beauty from everything we touch," Raj replied, meeting her gaze. "It's part of who we are." "And destruction? Is that not also part of who you are?" "We contain multitudes, Ambassador. Like any sentient species, we have the capacity for both creation and destruction. The choice of which path to follow, that defines us." Kvira stood abruptly, her skin shifting to deeper hues. "Pretty words, Diplomat Patel. But words alone do not build trust." She began pacing, her movements fluid despite her obvious agitation. "We have observed your kind for decades. You wage wars over resources, beliefs, imaginary lines on your planets. You form partnerships and break them when convenient. Even your mating bonds are temporary, with many of your cultures accepting multiple partners over a lifetime." Kvira stood before the Council of Elders, her skin carefully maintained in formal diplomatic hues despite her inner turmoil. The vast chamber's crystalline walls amplified every whisper of disapproval from the assembled leaders. "Your report is disturbing," First Elder Nrock stated, his ancient skin barely shifting colors anymore. "This human's behavior is unprecedented." The human diplomat's actions were inappropriate, Kvira acknowledged, but not entirely without merit. Their directness provides unique insights into their species. "You defend him?" Second Elder Tlan's skin flashed warning patterns. "After he violated countless protocols." Kvira chose her words carefully. "I observe him. As is my duty." The humans are complex, their apparent chaos masks surprising depths. "And these cultural exchange demonstrations you've permitted?" Nrock's tone carried centuries of skepticism. 3 daily meetings in 2 weeks. "All properly supervised," Kvira replied. "Diplomat Patel has shared their music, art, and literature. Yesterday's demonstration of their dance was particularly—" She paused, searching for an appropriately neutral word, informative. She didn't mention how her skin had betrayed her, flickering with forbidden colors when Raj demonstrated the elegant movements of something called a waltz. How her hearts had accelerated when he'd explained that humans dance to express emotions too complex for words. "Informative?" Tlan practically hissed. "You mean dangerous. These humans inject emotion into everything, corrupting pure reason with their chaos. Their emotion gives them strength," Kvira found herself arguing. "They've achieved in centuries what took us millennia, precisely because they're driven by more than logic." The chamber erupted in shocked colors. Kvira realized too late how passionate her defense had sounded. Nrock's skin shifted to the deep indigo of judgment. "You are too close to this situation, Ambassador Kvira. Perhaps we should assign—" "No." Kvira's interruption violated every protocol, but she continued. "I mean, respectfully, my position requires understanding them. Even their uncomfortable aspects." The council deliberated in private chromatic patterns while Kvira stood motionless, trying to control her betraying skin. Finally, Nrock spoke. "You may continue the negotiations. But there will be additional oversight. And these cultural demonstrations must be limited." Kvira bowed and exited swiftly, her relief hidden behind diplomatic colors. Outside the chamber, she found Raj waiting with his ever-present assistant. "Ambassador," he smiled, apparently genuine as always. "I hope we're still scheduled for today's cultural exchange. I brought examples of human poetry." "That would be inappropriate," Kvira cut him off, striding past. But Raj kept pace, undaunted. "May I ask why? Yesterday you seemed interested in human artistic expression." "Yesterday was a mistake." She stopped, turning to face him. "You don't understand what you're doing, human. Your casual emotions, your persistent attempts at connection. They threaten everything." Raja's dark eyes studied her with that unnerving intensity. "What exactly do they threaten, Ambassador? Your traditions? Or your certainty?" "You dare," she began, but he held up a hand. "Yes, I dare. Because I've watched you these past weeks. When you forget to maintain your diplomatic colors, when you truly engage with human art or music, you show colors I've never seen in any Xylaxian diplomatic guide." Kvira felt her skin betraying her again and forced it back to neutral tones. "You know nothing of our colors." "I know they're beautiful," Raj said softly. "Especially when they're honest, not controlled." He reached into his bag and pulled out a small canvas. "Here. This is what I see when you forget to hide." The painting stole Kvira's breath. Swirling patterns of impossible colors captured not just the visible spectrum of Xylaxian skin, but the emotional resonance behind them. Joy, curiosity, fear, and something deeper she refused to name, all rendered in human pigments by human hands. "How?" she whispered. "I paint what I feel," Raj said simply. "That's the human way, we transform our emotions into art, music, dance. We don't deny them or hide them. We celebrate them. And that's precisely why you're dangerous. Kvirra thrust the painting back at him. Your emotions are a contagion. They infect everything you touch. Is that what your council told you? Raj didn't take the painting. That emotions are a disease. Then why did your ancestors build this station in harmonics that resonate with feelings? Why do your colors shift with your hearts? You know nothing of our hearts. I know you have too, Raj said quietly. And I know neither of them is truly satisfied with only logic and protocol. Kvirra's skin rippled with colors she hadn't shown since childhood, before her training, before she learned control. These meetings are suspended, she managed. Further cultural exchanges will be conducted through proper channels. She turned to leave, but Raj's voice followed her. I'll keep the painting. When you're ready to see yourself as I see you, as you truly are, it will be here. Kvirra fled to her quarters, but she couldn't escape the truth he'd forced her to face. In her protected solitude, she finally let her skin show every chaotic, impossible color of her confusion. The human was right, she had two hearts, and for the first time in her life, they were beating in different rhythms. One maintained the steady pattern of duty and tradition. The other was learning a new dance, wild and beautiful and terrifying. And try as she might, she couldn't tell which heart was right. In her mirror, she watched colors chase each other across her skin like auroras, telling stories she'd never been allowed to read. Perhaps, she thought, that was the true danger of humans. Not that they infected others with emotion, but that they gave them permission to feel what was already there. The computer chimed with a message from the council: new restrictions on human interactions, more oversight, stricter protocols. Kvirra acknowledged it with proper diplomatic responses, but in the privacy of her quarters, she found herself humming the melody Raj had played that first day. Her skin shifted to colors that had no name in any Xylaxian protocol guide, and for just a moment, she didn't try to change them back. The emergency alarms pierced through Station Harmony's usual serenity, their crystalline tones warning of an approaching solar storm. Raj rushed through the corridors, following the flow of evacuating diplomats. But instead of heading to the designated shelter, he turned toward the xenobiology labs. Ambassador Kvirra is still in there, Terra had informed him before joining the evacuation. She won't leave the specimens. He found Kvirra in the main lab, her skin pulsing with stress colors as she worked to secure delicate stasis pods. Ambassador, we need to evacuate. The storm. These specimens are irreplaceable, she cut him off, not looking up. Genetic samples from species long extinct on my homeworld. I won't abandon them. The station shuddered as the first wave hit. Then let me help, Raj said, already moving to the nearest pod. What do you need? For a moment, Kvirra's skin flickered with surprise. Then she nodded sharply. The pods must be transferred to the shielded storage unit. Quickly. They worked in efficient silence, moving pod after pod. Raj noticed Kvirra's particular care with one containing spiral-shaped DNA strands. Her hands lingered on it longer than the others, her skin showing colors he'd never seen before. Another shock wave rocked the station. The lights flickered, and a warning klaxon indicated shield degradation. Ambassador, we're out of time. One more. Kvirra reached for the spiral DNA pod, but a power surge sent her stumbling. The pod slipped from its mount. Raj dove, catching it inches from the floor. The impact sent pain shooting through his shoulder, but he held the pod steady. I've got it. It's safe. Kvirra's skin erupted in colors of relief so intense they seemed to illuminate the lab. She helped him up, taking the pod with trembling hands. Thank you, she whispered. You don't know what you just saved. Then tell me, he said gently. What makes this one so special? She secured the pod in the storage unit before responding. It contains genetic material from my sister's bondmate. And my sister. The admission hung in the air between them as they hurried to the shelter. Only when they were safely inside did Raj dare to ask, what happened to them? Kvira's skin dimmed to colors of old grief. They were scientists, studying human DNA compatibility with other species. They believed your genetic adaptability could help preserve dying alien bloodlines. Her colors shifted to bitterness. The council forbade their research. Called it an abomination. But they continued in secret. What happened? Raj asked again, softer. There was an accident in their lab. Or so the official report claimed. Kvira's skin showed flickers of doubt, quickly suppressed. Their work was destroyed. Only those samples survived, preserved in a hidden stasis pod I managed to recover. You don't believe it was an accident? Belief is irrelevant. The council's judgment was clear, cross-species genetic research was too dangerous. The ban became absolute. She turned to him, her violet eyes intense. That's why your courtship proposal was more than inappropriate, Diplomat Patel. It was impossible. Any genetic mixing between our species is forbidden. But your sister believed it was possible. Lara believed many things. Kvira's skin showed the deep blues of mourning. She believed love could transcend biological barriers. That genetic diversity would strengthen us, not corrupt us. She even believed. She stopped, her colors shifting to fear. What did she believe? That the council's fear of humans went deeper than they admitted. That they discovered something in your DNA that threatened their control. Kvira's voice dropped to barely a whisper. Something that could awaken emotions our species had suppressed for generations. The shelter trembled as another wave hit, but neither of them noticed. Raj's mind raced with implications. Is that why you've been so resistant? Not because you fear human emotional instability, but because you fear our emotional potential? The council was right about one thing, Kvira said. Human emotions are contagious. Look at my skin now, showing colors that should be impossible for our species. Colors I never showed before meeting you. Your sister would have considered that a victory, not a threat. My sister died for her beliefs. But Kvira's skin betrayed her, showing not just grief now, but longing. I swore I wouldn't make her mistakes. And is that what your hearts tell you this is? A mistake? Raj stepped closer, watching the colors chase across her skin. Or is it the next step in the path she started? Before she could answer, the all-clear signal chimed. The storm had passed. Around them, diplomats began emerging from shelter pods, returning to their formal poses and protocols. Kvira's skin shifted back to diplomatic neutrality, but Raj had seen too much to be fooled. Think about it, he said quietly. Your sister trusted human emotional capacity enough to risk everything. Maybe it's time to understand why. He left her there, surrounded by politicians resuming their careful masks. But as he glanced back, he saw her skin ripple with the same impossible colors she'd shown in the lab, colors of truth finally exposed to light. In her quarters that night, Kvira removed the painting Raj had tried to give her weeks ago from its hidden compartment. She studied the swirling colors, joy, fear, curiosity, and that deeper emotion she could finally name, hope. The same hope that had driven Lara to break barriers and challenge traditions. The hope that love truly could transcend everything, even the boundaries between stars. Her two hearts beat in different rhythms, but for the first time, she wondered if they were both right. The Joint Human-Zylaxian Research Project was Kvira's idea, a carefully controlled study of non-genetic cultural exchange. The Council approved it reluctantly, swayed by potential diplomatic benefits. No one mentioned how it would require her to work closely with Raj for the next month. Today they were analyzing human music's effect on Zylaxian plant growth. Kvira watched her skin betray her pleasure as Raj played his flute for the specimens. The plants responded too, their crystalline structures resonating with each note. Remarkable, she noted, recording the changes. The harmonic frequencies match our ancient growth songs. Music is universal, Raj said, lowering his flute. It speaks to something deeper than biology. Like his presence spoke to something deeper in her. Kvira pushed the thought away, focusing on data. The council will want quantifiable results. And what about you? Raj stepped closer, his dark eyes intent. What do you want from this research? Truth, she admitted. The word hung between them, heavy with meaning. Their days fell into a pattern. Mornings spent analyzing data, afternoons conducting new trials. But it was the evening discussions that truly changed everything. Your sister was right, Raj said one night as they reviewed results. Our species aren't so different. Look, human music affects your plants exactly like Zylaxian songs. Lara would have loved this. Kvira's skin showed bittersweet colors. She always said art would bridge our worlds before science did. Tell me about her. The request was gentle, but it broke something open in Kvira. Stories poured out, Lara's rebellion against tradition, her secret research, her love for a bondmate who supported her dreams. Her skin shifted through a rainbow of remembered joy and grief. I've never seen you show so many colors, Raj observed. I've never felt safe enough to show them, she replied without thinking. The admission startled them both. Their research expanded. They discovered human poetry could induce color changes in Zylaxian mood crystals. Zylaxian harmonics improved human cellular regeneration. Each discovery felt like verification of Lara's theories. But it was the unplanned moments that truly broke barriers. Like when Raj found Kvira late one night, her skin dark with exhaustion as she reviewed old research logs. Dance with me, he suggested. What? You're overthinking. Dance with me instead. He held out his hand. One waltz. For science. She shouldn't. It violated protocol, propriety, everything. But her hand was already in his, her body moving to remembered steps as he hummed a melody. Your hearts are beating in harmony, he murmured. They were. For the first time since Lara died, both hearts followed the same rhythm. Kvira's skin erupted in colors of joy so bright they illuminated the lab. The council noticed, of course. Their warnings became more frequent, more severe. But Kvira had her sister's research now, and Raj's support. She couldn't stop. They're afraid, she told Raj after another council reprimand. Not of humans, but of change. Of feeling. Are you still afraid? Her skin answered before she could, showing colors of certainty she'd never worn before. No. I'm tired of fear. Tired of denying truth to preserve tradition. She showed him Lara's final research that night. The proof that human DNA didn't corrupt Zylaxian genetics, it awakened dormant emotional capacities. Abilities their species had suppressed over millennia of pursuing pure logic. The council didn't fear contamination, she explained. They feared awakening. Feeling. Loving. And now. Kvira's skin rippled with new colors, determination, defiance, and something deeper she finally had the courage to name. Now I know Lara was right. Love isn't a weakness. It's evolution. The next morning, she presented their research to the council. Not just the official cultural studies, but Lara's work too. Her skin showed every forbidden color as she spoke of art, music, dance, of humanity's gift for emotion, and how it could heal rather than harm. The council erupted in chaos. But when they demanded she choose between duty and feeling, tradition and change, her hearts beat in perfect synchronization. She chose truth. She chose love. That evening, she found Raj in their lab. Without words, she showed him her true colors, every bright, impossible shade of her feelings for him. Then she took his hand and led him to the dance floor they'd created between lab tables. "Teach me that waltz again," she said. "I think I'm finally ready to learn." As they danced, her skin glowed with colors no Zylaxian had shown in centuries. Colors of awakening, of barriers breaking, of love transcending every boundary. Above them, the station's crystals resonated with their movement, singing harmony to an ancient rhythm. The rhythm of two hearts learning to beat as one. The garden chamber aboard Station Harmony bloomed with both Earth and Zylaxian plants, their colors matching the iridescent shades flowing across Kvira's skin. She stood before the gathered dignitaries, council elders, human ambassadors, and representatives from a dozen alien species. "The evidence is irrefutable," she declared, her voice carrying the harmonic overtones of deep emotion. "My sister's research, combined with our recent findings, proves not only the safety of human Zylaxian genetic compatibility but its benefits." The chamber's crystals hummed with tension as she continued, "For too long, we feared human emotions would weaken us. Instead, they've awakened what we lost, the capacity to feel fully, to love completely, to grow beyond artificial constraints." Raj watched from the audience, his heart swelling with pride as Kvira's skin displayed colors of passion and conviction. The past month had changed everything. After their dance in the lab, Kvira had thrown herself into completing Lara's work, determined to honor her sister's legacy. First Elder Nrock rose, his ancient skin showing subtle patterns of distress. "You propose to overturn millennia of tradition based on love for a human? I propose to restore what we sacrificed in pursuit of pure logic," Kvira countered. "Look at the data. Since beginning cultural exchange with humans, our scientists show increased creativity. Our artists produce works not seen since our ancient past. Our children display emotional intelligence we thought lost forever." She gestured to the hybrid garden. "These plants represent our future, stronger together than apart. Like Lara believed. Like I now know to be true." The council deliberated in chromatic patterns too subtle for human eyes. Kvira stood unwavering, her skin radiating the impossible colors she'd discovered since letting herself love. Finally, Nrock spoke. "Your evidence is compelling, but the consequences of such change are already here." Kvira's voice softened. "You can't stop evolution, First Elder. You can only choose to embrace it or be left behind." She turned to Raj, holding out her hand in the human gesture he'd taught her. He joined her before the council, their fingers intertwining. "I choose this," she declared. "Not just for myself, but for every Zylaxian who yearns to feel more, to love more, to be more. I choose the future Lara saw, one where barriers break and hearts unite across the stars." Her skin blazed with colors of triumph as she announced, "I formally request permission to bond with diplomat Raj Patel, linking our species not just through politics or science, but through love." The chamber erupted in chaos. But among the younger Zylaxians, skins began shifting to match Kvira's radiant hues, colors of hope, of change, of love breaking free. Hours later, alone in their garden, Kvira and Raj swayed to the melody of their first dance. Her skin rippled with joy as both her hearts beat in perfect sync with his. "The council will take time to accept this," she murmured. "Good thing we have plenty of time." Raj smiled. "And plenty of evidence that love finds a way." Around them, earth roses and Zylaxian crystal blooms intertwined, creating patterns as beautiful as the colors flowing across Kvira's skin. She'd finally learned to let her true colors show, all the bright, impossible shades of a heart set free to love. "Lara would be proud," Raj said softly. "She is." Kvira touched the pendant at her throat, containing a tiny sample of her sister's DNA. Her research helped prove love is the most powerful force in the universe. Stronger than fear, than tradition, than the very barriers between species. And now? Kvira's skin showed every shade of love as she answered, "Now we write our own story. One of two hearts beating as one, of barriers broken by love, of new horizons waiting to be explored. She smiled. Together. Above them, Station Harmony's crystals sang with ancient songs of love and change. Below, their garden bloomed with the promise of things once thought impossible. And between them, a bridge of understanding built by music, art, dance, and most of all, the courage to let love transform everything. In the end, it wasn't technology or politics that united their species. It was the simple truth Kvira's sister had died protecting, that love transcends every boundary, even those between the stars. And as they danced among their hybrid flowers, Kvira's skin glowing with colors of joy, they proved that truth again with every step, every heartbeat, every moment of a future built on love's infinite power to change worlds.